right, Rob. It's good to have you back, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to maybe talk about the best week in sports.
Easily, for me at least.
Yeah, I mean, between Thursday and Friday and the lack of productivity that I will be bringing to the table. I mean, you just can't ask for anything better. And what they've done with the coverage, they started last year. You can watch every shot on every hole. They finally figured it out. But sorry for the big break in between casts. We've been kind of traveling all over the country. I feel like I had to go to Vegas for March Madness.
Had to go to Vegas for March Madness.
I had to do it. I had to do it. You're back in sunny Florida, and
second leg of the snowbird trip. Yep.
Second leg, and it was like historically cold last week, so you lucked out. But it looks like it's finally starting to turn.
Just in time for Masters week.
Just in time. I actually got out for the first time last weekend, and that was an absolute travesty.
Oof.
When I tell you, well, I was going to say my short game, but it was all terrible. There wasn't anything to brag about. I think first let's touch on the fact that the weather this weekend looks beautiful in Augusta, Georgia. Not anything remotely close to what we had to deal with in the Players Championship. And it was just unlucky for us that all of our guys that we backed had to play in maybe the worst weather we've seen in what we would consider a major.
Yeah, it was tough. Good thing we did check on that for the people at home this time around. And yeah, it looks like clear skies. It looks like they're getting all the storms out of the way on Tuesday and Wednesday. So maybe it disrupts practice or par 3 contest, but otherwise we're looking golden for the week. So first, before we really get into this tournament, we got to address the big thing here, right? Because this week, both Stone Cold Steve Austin has headlined WrestleMania and Tiger Woods is preparing for the Masters. So 10-year-old me could not be any happier right now. But
I saw a little video of you yesterday. And I was like, that guy is in heaven right now watching Stone Cold headline WrestleMania.
Amazing. It's just never, to me, it just never gets old. I'm always down for some Steve Weisers and some stunners. But and truth be told, I was one of those people, crazy people last week, just checking out, Tiger Woods' private Gulfstream jet flying up to Augusta, making sure that's exactly where it was going. Yeah. So we got up there for a quick round, and it looks like with Charlie and JT. And then came back around. Also, again, another diversion. Since we last spoke to the people, I was at the final round of the Valspar, so I got a chance to look at some of our guys. My boy, and I know he's a big time player of yours. Our boy Victor Hovland, who absolutely is worthy of a top 5 official World Golf ranking. Got to follow him around a little bit on Sunday until we started following the leaders. And here's my hot take. I think I'm officially out on JT. Kid's a douche.
Out?
The kid's a douche.
A lot of people feel that way.
So I don't know if you saw the video of the guy giving him some tips about the bump and run, right?
I did, yeah.
I forget exactly what hole it was. I don't want to get it wrong, but I was on the hole, just kind of on the other side of the grandstand where all this was happening. So I can't see where Thomas is behind the green. But I know, we know he's got to chip up, and it was taking some time, and I was wondering what was going on. And it was funny because when I saw the video of the guy, telling him, greens are fast, you got to bump and run it. I didn't even hear really any commotion. I had no idea what was going on. Just kind of noticed it was taking him a little bit to, get to the swing and get it up. But I don't know, after stuff like that, and I followed him pretty closely. I don't know, the guy's got to just keep it a little bit lighter. Come on.
That's innocent fun too.
Yeah. It wasn't anything.
No. He's not saying anything about your mom. Did you watch his reaction?
Yeah.
He's telling him to relax. He's like, you need to relax. You couldn't sound more stiff if you tried.
Yeah.
That's the Kevin Kisner approach and just go tell him to fuck off.
Exactly. Everybody, you get more people that love you right after that. But, I was following some of the bros that were, all the JT bros that day. But it was a good time. But yeah, that's my take. That's my hot take coming into this week. I'm out on JT. I don't know if I can get behind him. But anyway, yeah, been following Tiger along. It looks like he's going to give it a go this weekend. You can't. What else more can you ask for? I just remember, I don't know about you, but like, last February, when he, the accident, of course, like all off the course issues, personal issues, all that stuff aside, Tiger's the GOAT. We grew up on Tiger, so he's always been my favorite. And, the thought, like, immediate aftermath, of course, like selfishly as like a fan, you're like, fuck, like, is Tiger ever going to play again? Right. And then you're seeing things like, hey, like he may not even be able to walk right. Right. So, what's going through your mind as a fan is like, I'm never going to be able to see Tiger Woods play golf again. So now to be at this spot where, he's ramping up, getting ready to give it a go at Augusta. I mean, what more can you ask for? And it just speaks to the fact that, he is the GOAT. There's nobody else that's done it like him.
I'll tell you what speaks to the fact that he's the GOAT, that he's 45-1 or plus 4,500 to win it. Guy hasn't played. He's plus 45. What?
Yeah.
That is lunacy.
The
respect that they have to give him every time he tees up is insane.
I don't know how much of that is though on just like public money, because like anytime Tiger has been in the field and we're handicapping it, making plays, like I usually do, like I don't really bet on Tiger. I stay away because like the market on him is just so saturated. Like they're adjusting for just tons of public money. I caught a tweet a little earlier in the day just talking about highest bet count handles for outrights coming up this week, and he was of course up there. Which again, like are there really any sharp handicappers putting in tickets or money in on Tiger? I don't know, but I just think it's just a lot of public love and, people that want to, give themselves an extra financial reason to root for Tiger. But I mean, I don't need that to get up for Tiger. No. I mean, I take every chance he gets on the course from here out on out as a gift. So looking forward to it. And you mentioned the coverage, right? Like, us and every other golf podcast, golf show that wants, that throws out stuff, everybody's got their gripes about PGA coverage. CBS is brutal. NBC's, maybe a little bit better. ESPN, we've had good things to say about. But when it comes to the Masters, because the Masters and Augusta National takes control, of a lot of these things, like they do it right. And it's what we've always been calling for, especially in the big tournaments. So, you have that ability to go onto the Masters site and you can, follow along the live channels, whether it's featured groups, featured holes, etc. Right. But you could just mark your favorite guys, all the guys you got plays in on, and then you could have your live channel of just recurring shots of every single guy. I'm interested to see how it progresses from the past couple of years because, there's been some lag. There's been some, I've had, a couple, like either whether it's lag or just kind of some weird reoccurring shots over and over. But overall, the concept's amazing. And I know we've talked about this before. I think we mentioned it on the last cast with the players. Like there's no reason, especially in a tournament like this, why we can't have a camera at, tee box, fairway, green on every hole to get every shot from these guys.
Yeah, no, you're recording them. Yeah. Put them out there and let me watch them.
Exactly.
Because and then when it is bad coverage, what drives me nuts? I've said this to you before. Every time they show a golfer that isn't within 3 strokes on Sunday, and they just bring him up and he's 25 feet away, it's just oh, he makes a birdie putt. Yeah. And then when it's one of my golfers, they're like, oh, we're gonna show you Daniel Berger for the first time in 3 hours. Guy misses a 6-footer. I'm like, what the fuck? You can't make it up. It's every time, Rob.
Yeah.
Let's get into who we like to take home the green jacket.
Yeah.
Let's just start off with the one guy that both of us love, and I personally think that this is my guy this year, and it's got to be Cam Smith.
Yeah, we're aligned on Cam. As we get through it, like any other tournament, and especially for this tournament, we're looking at guys that are in form, guys that and guys that have played well here at Augusta, right? Like you're gonna smart, money, I guess smart way of thinking is to, back guys with more experience at Augusta. First timers usually struggle. But I mean, that's not the case with Cam. You got, we had 2 tournaments, in 21, you had at the back end in November after COVID. And then last year's tournament, Cam came in tied for second in the November Masters, tied for 10th last year. The guy plays well here. He's got, just 1.7 strokes gained on the field in 20 rounds. So he has good history here. He's absolutely a fit for this course. And he's playing well as of late at the same time. I mean, he's got, let's see, we're looking at 2.3 strokes total gained on the field over the last 6 months. And you got, he's checking all the boxes, and he's a big time player, and that. So I think that's why we're aligned on him as our favorite play right now, looking at it 14-1 short. But, if I'm going for one of the guys at the top tier favorites, Cam's my guy right now.
Yep. That is definitely my horse in the race. A couple other guys that we both like a lot came up in a lot of models that we put together, and we saw it on Data Golf, whatever else you guys want to put together. These 3 names are going to be near the top. Corey Conners at 55-1. I don't know if Corey Conners has it in him as a man to get a green jacket, but he has it in his game to do it.
Absolutely. I mean,
he fits the mold as a golfer, but as a man, I don't know if he's ready to take it home. But his game translates really well to this course again. So I'm going to put a half a unit on Corey Conners.
It's a good play, Mike. I mean, the proof is in the pudding there as well. Again, going back to the last 2 Masters, tied for top 10, tied for top 8. He's got about, a stroke and a third gained on the field in, let's see, he's got 14 rounds here at Augusta. So, he checks that box as well. He plays well here. So I don't think it's a bad play at all. And he's a ball striker. That's huge here. So I again, to me, if we're getting into stats, what plays well here, like everything else, strokes gained approach is the number one thing, who's striking the ball. But par 4 scoring is huge here. You got a lot of tough par 4s on this course. I mean, there's a stretch of holes on this course that, we're all familiar with at this point where, par is, you're happy to walk out of there with par. Score. Yeah. So
par could save you the tournament.
Par
could save you the
tournament. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, another guy, well, do you think this next guy, I feel like he came onto the scene when he played in his first Masters, and that's Willie Z, where he became a household name after that first Masters performance. Nobody's ever seen this kid play golf before. And, I mean, he was there come Sunday.
Yeah.
He's another guy I like at 35-1.
No, I like Willie Z too. He's been our boy this year. And going back to last year, we were on the Willie Z train early, like we are on a lot of guys. That kind of sprout up and pop up as they, in the young careers. So Willie Z is absolutely there for me. So I think with Willie Z, of course, you have last year's performance. It's the reason why he leads the field in strokes gained at Augusta, right? Very small sample size, of course. Only played 1 year. Second place to Matsuyama last year. But he gained 3 3/4 strokes on the field last year. So he plays really, obviously played really well last year. Also playing really well as of late. He's had a really good year. Last 6 months, he's just a bit of over a stroke gained on the field in the last 6 months. Cooled off a little bit as of late, but again, a guy that when we're talking about ball striking, we're talking about contending. He's definitely up there for me as well.
Yeah, and then lastly for the outrights, Viktor Hovland. And we all know how I feel about this guy.
Yeah.
I can't stand him. I can't stand the look of him. I hate putting my money on him. But just something in my bones is telling me that Viktor Hovland is going to be up there come Sunday. And, I mean, he fits all the models. It's just a matter of, can he get rid of those absolute blunders of a hole?
Yeah.
Which he does. He does all too often. He'll string together 34, 35 unbelievable holes, and then he'll have that one that is just horrific. And you can't have that this week. You just can't do it.
No, you got to stay away from the double bogeys. Double bogeys are going to kill you. The only one that comes to mind recently was at the Spieth double bogey. I think it was at either 17 or 18 on Saturday, the last time he won. Was able to come back from it. But double bogeys late, whether it's Saturday or Sunday, they're going to absolutely kill you. So, and I agree, Hovland has that tendency where, he can light it up for sure, but he's got to stay away from that big number. But again, I mean, when we're talking about what we're looking for here, he's checking the boxes too. He's just under 2 strokes, gained on the field in the last 6 months. Has positive course history here, albeit he only has 2 rounds, 2 tournaments under his belt, 8 rounds at Augusta, but still on the right positive side of the field. So yeah, me, like you don't need to convince me to get to show some love for Viktor. Absolutely a top 5 player in the world, and he shows up in big tournaments. So I'm glad you finally have come around to our
I haven't.
sensation.
Don't even get it twisted. I just don't want to be left behind.
I gotcha.
Like I'm going to be on the winning side, and I'm still going to be talking my shit about him.
I hear
but I don't want to be left behind on that money. Those are the 4 horses I really like. Like realistically thinking, like who could pull it off. Granted, anybody in the field can. But I'd like to touch on some top 5s because I know you have a couple guys in the top 5, top 10 area that have some good value. I want to start us off with maybe our favorite golfer, and that's Xander Schauffele at plus 450. I mean, he had a decent showing last time around. He hasn't really been making splashes of late, but I actually like that more for him. I feel like when pressure's on him, he doesn't play good golf.
We've been waiting for the X-Men to break through for a couple of years now, right? But he is playing. He's been playing. He's had a fairly decent year. Hasn't been the strongest, I think, but but he's another guy that has good history here. Has played really well in 4 tournaments. Just under 2 strokes gained on the field at Augusta, tied for 3rd last year, top 17, top 17 at the November Masters, and then in 19, tied for 2nd. So, he's very familiar with Sunday pressure packed Augusta, top of the leaderboard. So I absolutely think he's a guy that can contend and be able to handle that at Augusta. Has shown it already. So I'm always ready to back the X-Man as well. 2 other guys I like, whether it be outright and top 10 as well. I'm looking at Matthew Fitzpatrick and Shane Lowry. Again, 2 guys that are checking some boxes for us here at Augusta. Both are playing well this year. And both have some positive history on the course. So I think both of their numbers, they're actually at the same numbers, outright at 55-1, top 10 at plus 450. So I like both those guys. I'm going to throw them in the mix as well.
You know what I find interesting? Because Corey Connors is right there at that 55-1. Those guys, that like group of golfers, always has the same exact numbers in every big tournament. Yeah, and I swear it's like when they're going through the analytics just to like save time and get the numbers out, they just like put the 10 guys and they're like, we're gonna make one model for one of them, and then we're just gonna put the same number for the other 9.
Yeah,
because every time we're looking at these majors, it's like we're looking through, like sifting through it, and I'm like, oh, there's that group.
It's funny, yeah, that group. It's like some of our Aussie and English friends. You have Fitzy, Lowry, Hatton, Scott, Connors, Leishman, Casey. They're all within that 55 to 65 range right there. But they're all, and that's the other thing. We've talked about this with major tournaments before. I mean, when you have a stacked field, one of the best fields in the game, you're going to get a lot of value on quality guys that are playing, really well this year, who have shown that they could play at Augusta at numbers like that, at 55-1. So, and I think that's where the smart money lies on outrights. Of course, a couple of our, favorite guys, they're more chalky. Cam Smith is definitely one of the chalky picks at 14-1. But Hovland's not far behind him at 20-1. But when you get into the meat, of this field, like there's some shots worth taking there.
Yeah, and I want it to be known, like this isn't like we're hopping on the Cam Smith bandwagon. We've been riding with Cam Smith pre-mullet. So like, don't get it twisted, people. I'm very happy for him, and I'm very happy to see him finally be on these big stages. And dude, when he got that paycheck, I'm like, there might not be somebody that I want more to have that than Cam Smith. He just seems like a very good dude, plays great golf. I mean, it's him and Paul Casey for me. Those are my guys. Whoa, pod etiquette. Pod etiquette.
They all want the picks. They want them early, you know?
I know. I got
Get
texts
off the hook.
It's funny. They're giving me a hard time about the players tournament, and then I got people texting and calling me asking when we're releasing the points for the Masters. I'm like, oh, you act like you forgot about me, but now we're here and you need me.
I forgot to ask you. I think if anything, we're somewhere in between 15 and 20 units on the year. I think we're
doing 15. Fine.
That's all right.
Side note, remember I freaking before March Madness and I fly out to Vegas, I'm like, I think it's Sam Burns. And I'm literally leaving Las Vegas and I just checked the PGA app. And when you were there, and I was just like, I'm like, God damn it. I'm like, this would have paid for my trip.
Well, what happened was, you texted me, right? On Tuesday or Wednesday, like I'm about to leave. I got to throw in the one and done pick. I'm thinking Burns. I'm like, yeah, well, it's Valspar. Like maybe you take a shot on a guy a little bit longer down the field, save some guys for later. And then of course I get there on Sunday and Burns is at the top. I'm like, oh shit. Like if Burns wins this tournament, Mike's going to kill me.
Because you were like, take Kokrak. I'm like, oh, that's a great play. I'm like, I'm save him for later. And I'm literally stuck in limbo in Vegas, like, itching to get out of that freaking city. But my flight's not leaving until like 10 o'clock at night their time. And I just clicked the PGA app and I'm like, you have got to be shitting me. I'm like, this son of a bitch is going to win this tournament.
Well, let's get into our boy Burnsy because, again, so he's flying in the face of, like we said, like the smart way of thinking, conventional wisdom. You stay away from guys that haven't played at Augusta, don't have much history here. So Burns, I think he falls into that category as well. So but at the same time, I'm seeing him pop up on a couple of the models that we've ran. He's got some decent course fit kind of numbers here. Obviously, he's been playing well. As of late. So he checks all the boxes, but for really that experience that we're looking for. So, I mean, where does he fall, if at all, in your card? Like, are you willing to give him a look this week?
The highest I would bet him is top 10. But with his current form, you're not getting really good value. We've just been down this road too many times. Yeah. Your first go around just not ever. It just doesn't go well.
It's tough.
You could be playing the best golf of your life. You need to go there and find yourself. Yeah, There's only been a couple of guys to do it, Rob.
Willie Z, right? I mean, the guy we already talked about. Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about some great golfers. Sam Burns has – right now he's got the moxie to do it. But to me, it's just I'm just going to stay away from it. When you look at the odds of somebody that's never played here to play well, it's pretty low, and he's kind of fizzled out a lot of Sundays in much less important tournaments. So now, when we're talking about the most important tournament, I just don't really see that happening. But there is somebody, maybe one of my all-time favorite golfers that I need to bring up, and that's Harold Varner III.
That is one of your boys.
I love Harold Varner III. I was so happy to see him make a push at the Players. He got a big payday. Kind of teetered off in that second wave on Monday. But, I mean, I'm not mad at him. That was just a grueling tournament for everybody. I mean, and Cam Smith just two-putted like 4 holes, like one-putted everything else. So, like, it was his. I'm taking Harold Varner III top 10 at 12-1. He's been up there before as well. He's actually shown some moxie in Augusta. I like the number. I like Harold Varner. This is a straight fanboy play for me. And I'm going to be honest. It is what it is. But at 12-1, top 10 finish, he's playing probably the best golf of his life going into it. Yeah, that's just got to be a cash out for me. Because if I see another big tournament and Harold Varner's up there and I don't have a ticket on him, I'm going to be pissed.
Well, like I told you before we jumped on, if you follow along Data Golf, he's their darling, right, for outright this week. You want to talk about how he's playing as of late, last 6 months. He's just under a stroke and a half gained on the field in the last 6 months. So, again, you got a guy, you're losing. Again, we're talking about that experience value at Augusta. He doesn't check that box, but at the same time, he is playing well as of late. Some of the numbers, models, and stuff, all that stuff, look the lineup for him, just where his numbers are, his odds. So I don't hate it. I know that's your boy, and I pray that day that he does break through, you're on it, right? Because you've been backing him quite, for a couple of years now. So
and then after Harold Varner, I just have Bernhard Langer at top 20. I got that at 20-1. I mean, that's just a guy that's continuously played good golf, and he's always played well here. Top 20 might be a stretch, but at that number, because it's funny, I saw it on FanDuel at plus 850, and then I went to DraftKings, and he's 20-1.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference. I'm like, I can't pass on that value.
That's why we shop.
One of them has the wrong number. So I'm going to take my chances on that. I mean, and like you said when we were talking before, he's somebody that you like to just come out of the gates pretty hot. Maybe be top 20 in the first round, top 10 in the first round, and then age, Father Time's undefeated. He'll start to teeter off.
Exactly. And that's usually how I play some of these, the veterans, the older guys that are, the former champions that are in the field, especially Bernhardt. I think he just missed out on top 20 after round 1 last year. But again, usually a guy that, you're going to see near the top of the leaderboard early because he is fresh. He's on fresh legs, and he obviously knows the course as well as anybody in the field, plays well early. So, I think top 20 for the tournament is a little bit of a stretch for longer. But, if you're looking to back him after round 1 in the top 20, I don't hate it. That's probably something that I'm going to wind up putting in as well. Freddie Couples is another guy that I've backed, one of the former champions, older guys but as of, and again, the problem with Freddie's always been his back. So another guy that can, get off to a good start here, but, tends to fade towards the weekend. And it's been a couple of years since he's last competed. He hasn't made the cut in his last 2 starts at Augusta, so I'm not sure if that time is now behind him. So I don't think it's necessarily a guy that I'll be looking to back. But Langer, I still think maybe he can hang around for another round or 2 at Augusta. He would be, I think it was last year in 21, oldest to make the cut at 63. So he's trying to break that record again, his own record this year. I could see him getting it done, especially with the conditions looking good. We'll see. But somebody, guy like that, I'd look to back early. So speaking of
he's still playing good golf.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the Champions Tour, every time that the coverage cuts off from the Golf Channel to NBC or CBS, it's like, oh, Bernhard Langer wins another Champions Tour. Like, this guy still got it.
Yeah.
Now can you do it for 4 days is the question.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see how far you can have. Obviously, it's a story every year at Augusta. One of the things I'm always interested in, guys like Langer and Couples, seeing how long they can hang around. The guys that know that course, like I said, as good as anybody, and just see how long, how far their legs and back can take them headed into the week. So, again, I like it. It's a fun play. I like it backing, the old champions there. But again, speaking of early round success, first round leaders, guys that we can get off, to a hot start. For me, I've made this play, the past couple of years now. It's been pretty close, but I feel like Jordan Spieth, leader after round 1 at Augusta, is like an obligatory play for me. He's somebody in general that, when he is playing well and he's going to contend for the week, he'll get off to a hot start. Obviously with a Masters win here, he knows the course, has great experience here. Taking out Willie Z's small sample size, Spieth with a large sample size of 32 rounds is the second best in the field when it comes to strokes gained at Augusta, just a click under 3 strokes. So obviously plays really well here. Actually wound up tied for 3rd last year. His best showing since 2018, another top 30. So if Spieth is going to get it going this week, I'll look for him to get it going early. So I'd look to back him maybe in the first round. A couple of guys that we've already mentioned, like Cam, and we know Cam can get out to a hot start. So I maybe look for him as a first round leader. And then one interesting name, again, we're, similar to Howard Varner, Sam Burns line of thinking, we're getting away from that conventional wisdom in terms of like course history experience. But Tom Hoge, I mean, the guy has bursted on the scene within the last year. He's not afraid of big moments. He's showing up in some big tournaments. He hangs around there, and when he does, and when he's competing and playing well, another guy that gets going early. So at 90-1, I'm gonna take a sprinkle or two on Tommy to maybe have a good showing in the first round too.
Ooh, that's a 90-1.
Yeah,
I love that number. I love that number. I'm definitely going to be with you on that one for sure, especially 90-1. Another guy that we talk about, someone that could come out hot, would be Sam Burns. Kind of teeter off as the week progresses. If you could have all your money back on the obligatory Jordan Spieth bets, you'd be a very rich man.
Yeah. Tell me about it. It's been I'm probably running on about 3 or 4 years now with that first round bet. But
Daniel Berger, and Billy Ho. I'm sending invoices out, gentlemen.
Berger's at the top of our accounts receivable list.
Oh, for sure. Berger, that thing's aging. It's getting past the 30-day terms. I already have it set up. Dirty rat owes me some money.
Yeah. We haven't even mentioned him, but another guy that
I can't even speak his name. If he couldn't pull it off for us then, if he does win this, I'm actually going to be furious.
Yeah,
I don't even have him in the mix of things. I wouldn't even be afraid to bet him to miss the cut. I'm going to stop talking because I'm just going to jinx our mojo. But I just don't see how Daniel Berger, with the mental capacity that he has, where he completely folded on a 6-shot lead. I don't know how you, as a man, can get ready and gear up to hold on to a Sunday Masters lead.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't. I mean, his best finish, it's tops 27 for his best finish way back in 17. Missed the cut last year. But, it's interesting, right? Because you're talking about the mental aspect of this. He's on the positive side of the field at Augusta, but hasn't really had the results to back it up. But anyway, staying away from Daniel this week, which of course means for everybody at home to now go run to the bank, take out a deposit, and put it on Daniel Berger.
Put the house on Daniel Berger.
Exactly. But for us, it's a stay away this week.
I will be sitting there with you on Sunday, screaming at the TV, praying Daniel Berger misses putts and he's going to be making everything. But yeah, Rob, I feel like we kind of covered all the bases there. And this is early in the week. We'll be getting a lot of matchups out there. I'm sure we're going to be dabbling in all of that.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Check the Twitter at @takeyour_pick. Sean's on a heater in basketball.
Yeah.
He's been doing pretty well. He's starting to find himself again, and he only gets better as the playoffs start to go too. We're getting back in the golf circuit. We took a little bit of time off with in between the players and the Masters with the tournaments that don't really mean too much to us. But now we're getting back into our groove. Rob's going to be soon back on the Northeast corridor, so we'll be talking golf a lot more. Yeah, that's all I got, Rob.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think we covered a lot of our favorite guys and a lot of guys that we like this week. So, I mean, there's plenty out there to be had. Again, it's the Masters. It's a major tournament, so you're going to see a wide range of props and all kinds of bets out there. So, stay tuned. Like you said, it's only Monday. So tomorrow, Tuesday, is when the pairings, groupings get put together, and then we'll be able to take a closer look at matchups, who's matched up against who. We know everybody knows we love our 3 balls. Maybe there's a couple tournament matchups out there worth having. So stay tuned for that. We'll definitely dive into that tomorrow once the pairings get announced.
Definitely. Ladies and gentlemen, if you stuck with us through this much of a golf podcast, God bless you. I wish you nothing but the best of luck this week. And until next time.